Hey there, good evening. Teresa McGallagher from the Miracles Tribe here, and I wanted to share some thoughts that I had lately about guilt. Guilt is at the bottom of all the world's problems, and the process of undoing guilt is what A Course in Miracles is all about. So what is guilt? Most people think that guilt is a good thing. There's a common belief that if you didn't feel guilty, you'd just run amok, raping and pillaging and killing people right and left, and that we need guilt to keep us all in line and make us all behave. That's absolutely not true. That's an ego story, and it's a false story. Guilt serves no useful purpose. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Guilt is strictly harmful. And it doesn't fix the problem that was created that we feel guilty about. It actually keeps the problem in place. So all of us feel guilty deep down inside because of the separation from God. And that is why we have all the problems that we have in this world, in this ego-run world. And undoing that guilt is the solution to all of those problems. And how do we do that? We do that by understanding that we never did anything wrong, and therefore we have nothing to feel guilty about. The ego hates to hear that because the ego wants to blame everybody else for doing things wrong and hold them accountable, but that's not our job. Our job is not to correct our brother. Our job is to correct ourselves and to accept the atonement for oneself. So I just have an example from my life that I would like to share about guilt and how ineffective it is. And it has to do with my son. I was really hard on him when he was little, and I realized after a few years of expecting perfection from him how unrealistic that was. And I tried to lighten up my standards and accept him and love him just as he was. But I also felt very guilty for many years that I had done a lot of damage by being so harsh with him when he was little in his formative years. And I used to lay awake in bed at night after night after night feeling bad about that. And my husband would say, just let it go. Like, you can't change it. Like, just drop it. And I wanted to drop it, but I didn't know how. I couldn't stop thinking about it and beating myself up. And what I came to realize eventually was that I was making myself feel bad and feel guilty in order to not correct the problem. In other words, my ego mind had me convinced that feeling guilty about my behavior was actually doing something to correct it. And it wasn't. As long as I felt guilty, I could not correct the problem. The solution was to start loving and accepting my son right then and there, drop the past, let go of the feelings of guilt, and focus on the present. And as soon as I did that, and as soon as I realized that, everything shifted in our relationship. So I want to encourage you to realize that guilt is a demon, and when you go on a guilt trip, you will end up in hell. There is no benefit to feeling guilty or encouraging others to feel guilty. It is simply an ego device to keep us trapped in a nightmare. So that's what I have to share for this evening. I hope you're enjoying your weekend, and I love seeing you on here. Take care. Bye-bye.